I'd like to focus on your outreach work right now. So science communication is like really important, and it's equally as important as research. And so, could you share a memorable experience from your outreach work that you believe highlights its importance?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, there's a lot. I think some of the trips that we do for outreach that are the most near and dear to my heart are those in the correction system. And I've been really fortunate to build inroads within juvenile detention facilities, and especially up in Fort Pierce, the St. Lucie Regional Detention Center. And those are students who, I mean, it's almost unbelievable how rough they had it growing up. I mean, it's like they're brought into this world and they really don't have a chance. They're being bombarded from day one. And but yet you still see that spark of curiosity and that tenacity in them, despite all the struggles that they're dealing with addiction and abuse and the hostile environment that they're in. There's fights happening all the time, and there's dynamics within the prison setting that you deal with the hierarchies there. But all these kids, at some point, most of them will have a release date, right? So they've got to integrate back into society. And while they're there, their time still counts towards their grade, and they're still in school, right? That's what's kind of unique about the juvenile system. In adult prisons, you're not legally mandated to be in school, but the prison and the school are one in the juvenile case, and there's lots to say about that, but in those environments, to see that curiosity, that light bulb go off, and they have ways of letting you know that are sort of unique, that they value what you're doing, right? And you'll hear all kinds of crazy stuff. Like we were doing a sheep brain dissection with the girls group, and one of the students, as we're dissecting the sheep brain, raised, I don't think she even raised her hand. She just blurted out, "I overdosed on fentanyl last week. What part of my brain was that?" And the girl next to her slapped her in the arm and said, "That wasn't last week. That was 3 weeks ago, you idiot." And it's kind of like one of those moments that's eye-opening to let you know that, hey, there's a lot of people dealing with some really serious circumstances in life, and we like to complain a lot. I don't complain nearly as much anymore because of experiences like that. And so they also have weird ways of complimenting you and knowing and letting you know that they value what you're doing, right? So, a lot of times, they plan fights, right? And so there was this one group of boys, they had planned a fight at breakfast, and then they come into our class, and I'm there to visit with a couple of our students to do an activity, and they waited until the class was over to have their fight, which I know it's not a joke, right? And it's not something to be condoned at all, right? But the fact that they saw that opportunity as something like, hey, like we want to be here and we want to do this, right? And so I've had conversations with students in there that have aspirations of getting into medical school one day and getting into science. They want to be nurses. They want to study the medical field. Some of them want to be marine biologists, and they had never met a scientist before. They had never known sort of like what a scientist is like. A lot of times you just know what you see on TV, whether you see like mad scientists and kids cartoons or the characters that are portrayed in shows like The Big Bang Theory that are really super brilliant and speak in like really complicated lab jargon that nobody really knows what they're saying, right? And that's part of the humor of the show, and I get it. But the reality is that science is done by everyday people like you and me, right? So it's really amazing to bring the message. So like, hey, anything's possible for you. Just because this is where you find yourself right now, that's not where you need to stay. There's lots of room in your own community at FAU, right, to get in and study science and to change your trajectory. So anyway, that's a long rambling answer, but I think those are some of the experiences that are closest to my heart.
No, that's really cool. So, how do you think